right now on 15 News Now.
And we're continuing to see summer-like thunderstorms throughout the area. I have a detailed forecast coming up.
Tensions continue to rise in the search for NSA leaker Edward Snowden. Also, part 2 of our series on spices in the area. And police are searching for a missing teen. 15 News Now starts now.
Coverage you can count on. 15 News Now starts now.
Tensions are rising as the search for NSA leaker Edward Snowden continues. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Fred Dawkins. Our top story on 15 News Now. Snowden failed to board his flight from Russia to Cuba on Monday. Now the U.S. and Russia are in a standoff over his fate. Charlene Israel has more.
It's a cat-and-mouse chase, and it's proving to be a costly one for the U.S. The Obama administration is increasing pressure on Russia to hand over former U.S. spy agency contractor Edward Snowden. The effort to extradite him has already frayed ties between Washington and Beijing.
This was a deliberate choice by the government to release a fugitive despite a valid arrest warrant, and that decision unquestionably has a negative impact on the U.S.-China relationship.
Now it's threatening ties with Russia as well. Authorities there continuing to ignore the requests of the U.S. to arrest Snowden.
We expect the Russians to examine the options available to them to expel Mr. Snowden for his return to the United States.
Snowden is believed to be hiding out in the Russian airport. He checked in Monday for his flight to Cuba, but his seat was empty the entire trip.
No special passengers today, no.
Today, Russia's foreign minister went so far as to say that Snowden never even crossed the border into Russia. He also called the U.S. demands to extradite the fugitive ungrounded and unacceptable. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange is helping Snowden. He told reporters over the phone that Snowden is healthy, safe, and in good hands.
Edward Snowden is not a traitor. He is not a spy. He is a whistleblower who has told the public an important truth.
Assange says the government of Ecuador has provided Snowden with refugee travel documents. He's said to be making his way there for political asylum. Meanwhile, U.S. frustration is growing, along with its concerns that the leaks have already dealt a major blow to national security. Officials say there are signs that terrorist groups are finding ways to evade U.S. detection based on information released by the leaker. And joining us now for more is Dr. Paul Bonicelli. He is Executive Vice President of Regent University, and he served in the George W. Bush administration. Thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
Now, the Obama administration says that China deliberately let Snowden go. Why would China do that?
I think they deliberately let him go because they don't want the problem of having him there. I think that we may find out they didn't want him to even come there, and once he did, they did the wrong thing, but they got him off their hands.
That is really crazy. Well, the Russians are refusing to hand him over and even have said that he never even entered the country. What are they up to?
They're going to play a much more aggressive game. I mean, these are the fruits of a foreign policy that says that if you just talk and get along with people, everything will work out. And Vladimir Putin has been waiting a long time for an American president that he can push around. And I'm afraid he's getting away with that. He'll make the most of it that he can. If there's any more intelligence to get, they'll try to get it. But more than anything, this is to pressure the United States and really knock us down a peg, I think.
What is this whole fiasco doing to our image around the world?
I think it is demonstrating the reality of that image for a while. The president came into office having campaigned that he was not going to use military might, he was not going to use the aggression of the United States or the force of the United States to protect our interests. People understood that, and now they know that they can get away with whatever they want to. It'll be a scramble to get away as much as you can until the president finally has to snap and say, no more pushing us around, and it may be too late like it was for Jimmy Carter.
Wow. Talk about the damage that the leaks are really, how it's impacting.
It's hard to know how wide the damage is, but just psychologically it's huge because this is a program that while we knew it existed to some degree, it was talked about in 2006. The details that he's released, we don't know yet. If he really did get names, if he got the schema that shows the networks that we have across the world for using this data, for gathering this data, it could be quite severe. And whether this thing is more PR stunt for WikiLeaks and Edward Snowden to feel good about himself, or if it's a serious breach, we don't know yet. But psychologically already, it's pretty bad.
Talk about the U.S.-China relations and how it's going to affect that and how it's getting worse.
I think that, as I said earlier, I think the Chinese didn't want this to happen. They don't want this to. They wanted a little bit of a black eye for the U.S. because we are on them all the time about cybersecurity, about hacking into our systems for commercial as well as security interests. But I don't think they want to see a long-term breach, which is why they have gotten him out of the country, I believe, out of China.
Wow. Well, some are still saying that Snowden is just a whistleblower. They point out that he did not sell his information to a foreign country. What's your view on that?
I don't think he's a whistleblower because there's a proper procedure for that. You go to a member of Congress, you declare yourself, you do the best that you can to have your bona fides out there, that you're just trying to expose what you think is a crime or something like that. He's done nothing like this. He's gone straight into the arms of people who are opposed to the United States, none of whom are friends of information, or rather liberty when it comes to the internet or the press. So he's not really a whistleblower, I don't think.
We're certainly keeping our eye on this one. Dr. Bonicelli, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Charlene Israel reporting for the Dawkins Radio and Television Group. Police arrested 3 people following a high-speed chase in Madison County. Madison County Sheriff's Office deputies were dispatched to Crosswinds Rehabilitation Center in Greenville after receiving word about a car break-in and theft. The suspects reportedly broke out a window and stole a purse from inside an employee's vehicle. Now, witnesses told deputies that the suspect, a male, got into a gold-colored sedan, which already had 2 others in it, and drove toward Madison on U.S. Highway 90. Deputies attempted to stop the car, but the suspect wouldn't yield. Instead, he led them on a high-speed chase, which ended after the suspect's vehicle lodged itself on railroad tracks. John Wesley Smith, Jr., Brandon Starling, and Defin Spincent were arrested and face burglary and theft charges. Smith faces additional fleeing, eluding, and aggravated assault charges. The purse was recovered and returned to its rightful owner. Prosecutors in the George Zimmerman trial are trying to introduce recordings of close to 50 non-emergency calls that he made to law enforcement to prove the former neighborhood watch leader is guilty of second-degree murder in shooting Trayvon Martin. Prosecutors want to convince the judge that the calls Zimmerman made to authorities over the 8 years before the shooting indicates his state of mind that night. Well, severe storms plummeted parts of the plains and upper Midwest states on Monday. In Illinois, high winds and torrential rains triggered mudslides, downed trees, and blew over vehicles on highways. Heavy rains also flooded parts of southwestern Indiana and Wisconsin. In New Hampshire, a major storm caused dangerous lightning. 23 Boy Scouts and 3 adult counselors suffered burns after lightning struck a camp in Belmont. The scouts and their leaders were huddled under a shelter at the time, and officials said no one was hit directly.
It could have hit the tent, it could have hit the ground and traveled through. The tent could have been anchored with a rope onto a tree, it could have traveled. There's so many different ways when you get lightning strikes that things can travel.
Now Dustin Kopp is here with a look at our first forecast for the Big Bend. And Dustin, are we going to be seeing any thunderstorms in the near future?
Good evening, Fred. Good evening, everybody. Cloudy skies this evening throughout the Big Bend. 87 degrees at 7 p.m., down to about 83 at 9, so still on the warm side. And by midnight, a temperature around 77 under a partly sunny, or cloudy sky, rather. Will we see any thunderstorms for you Wednesday? I'll let you know coming up later in your Storm Tracker weather forecast.
Up next on 15 News Now, part 2 of our series on spices in the area. That story coming up only on 15 News Now.
I needed coverage that I could afford, so I called ICANN.
When I lost my job, I needed health benefits from my family, so I called ICANN.
With my history, I couldn't get health insurance, so I called ICANN.
Going without health insurance? One call can change it all. Rates too high? You've been turned down, or just need to save money. ICANN has plans to meet your needs, no matter your income. We have plans that include coverage for doctor visits, prescriptions, hospital stays, surgery, emergency room visits, and the list goes on. But wait, there's more. ICANN has programs that connect you with licensed doctors round the clock from wherever you are. And as a special bonus, if you call right now, we'll send you a no-cost, no-obligation Humana prescription drug savings card just for calling. That's a savings of up to 50% off your prescriptions at 54,000 participating pharmacies nationwide.
You're watching 15 News Now with Fred Dawkins and Dustin Kopp. 15 News Now continues.
On Monday, we told you about how a local convenience store, Star Mart, was involved with selling spices and being shut down. Today, in the conclusion of our two-part series, we find out what effects there are when someone uses spices. Detective Sergeant Gene Franklin says using spices is a dangerous thing.
It's very dangerous because of the chemical makeup. We've had people who've passed out. We've had people who experienced delirium. Overall, it's not very good for the body, and it causes adverse reactions in every person who tries it.
Franklin tells 15 News Now that if you see someone using spices, you need to contact your local authorities immediately because you don't know what could happen, as the adverse effects could be life-threatening. An autopsy has confirmed drowning as the cause of death for a teenager at a Leon County sinkhole. Leon County deputies say 19-year-old Donjay Brown was swimming with a group of friends when he started struggling. Brown's friends tried to save him but could not reach him. It happened Saturday morning at the sinkhole next to the Tallahassee Korean Baptist Church. It's the same sinkhole where 24-year-old Dominique Hollis drowned in May. An immigration reform bill that offers citizenships to millions is one step closer to passing the Senate. A final vote to send the bill to the House is expected this week. Debate is raging in Washington not only about the bill, but about the threat it poses to the Republican Party. John Waggy explains.
Some in the GOP are sending out dire warnings that the party is through if it doesn't get on the right side of the immigration bill.
If we don't pass immigration reform, if we don't get it off the table in a reasonable, practical way, it doesn't matter who you run in 2016. We're in a demographic death spiral as a party, and the only way we can get back in good graces with the Hispanic community, in my view, is pass comprehensive immigration reform. If you don't do that, it really doesn't matter who we run, in my view.
But many conservatives are concerned that politics is pushing lawmakers to pass a 1,200-page immigration bill in the same way Congress passed Obamacare in 2009. Without even knowing how it will affect the country.
I reject the idea that this policy reform of fixing our broken immigration system should be done for political or electoral reasons. I think that's the wrong reason, and I think it could lead to a bad result, because then when you say that we have to do this for political reasons, you may end up swallowing a bad policy out of a misplaced desperation.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul says he won't support the bill after his amendment to enforce border security first failed. But he's urging Republicans to appeal to Americans of all races and ages.
We need to have this optimism, this happiness about our party that is enticing to people. It needs to appeal to people of all races. When we look like America, when we have tattoos, without tattoos, with ponytails, without ponytails.
For the Democrats, Senate Majority Whip Chuck Schumer's immigration push has been a brilliant political strategy, shoving the IRS and Benghazi scandals to the side and dividing Republicans with a goal of adding millions of Democratic voters.
This is going to be a historic week for the Senate as we pass comprehensive immigration reform. We're about at 2/3 of the Senate right now. Our momentum is growing, so I believe we'll be in the neighborhood of 70 votes by the time the vote occurs at the end of the week.
Schumer also cautioned on CNN Sunday that he could see 1 million demonstrators meeting on the Mall if House Republicans try to bottle up or substantially change the Senate's version of the bill, a sign that Democrats hope it will be a wedge issue to help them take over the House in 2014. But Senator Paul doesn't seem to be intimidated.
It'll pass the Senate, but it's dead on arrival in the House. The House is much closer to me, and I think they think border security has to come first before you get immigration reform.
John Waggy reporting for 15 News Now. Funeral plans for an 8-year-old Jacksonville girl who was abducted and slain are on hold until an autopsy is completed. Cherish Pennywinkle was abducted Friday night after her mother let her go into a McDonald's inside a Jacksonville Walmart with 56-year-old Donald Smith. Police say that Renee Periwinkle met Smith earlier that evening and that he offered to buy them food and clothing. Authorities found the girl's body on Saturday. Smith was arrested and charged with kidnapping and murder. He's now being held in jail. Up next, police are searching for a missing teenager. Details when we come back.
Health insurance update. This just in for all uninsured Americans with or without pre-existing conditions. The recent health care bill will not take effect until at least 2014, leaving families and individuals lacking health insurance with no immediate solution to their concerns. Meanwhile, medical problems continue to be the #1 cause of bankruptcies. Here's the good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide affordable health insurance for all uninsured Americans, and yes, uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Call the number on your screen now, and in less than 10 minutes, you could receive a choice of affordable plans from the Hotline Network. This is not a discount card. You will have access to doctors, hospitals, dental care, infant care, and emergency services. Call the Health Insurance Hotline now and get you and your family covered today.
Call 800-794-0825. That's 800-794-0825. Call now.
The Tallahassee Police Department is looking for information and the location of 14-year-old Larica Atkins. On May 24th, Atkins was last spotted getting onto a Star Metro bus by Lincoln High School. Police believe that Atkins may be in the Joe Louis area or the Frenchtown area of Tallahassee. Atkins is described as being 5'5", 140 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. If you have information on where Larica is located, you're urged to contact the Tallahassee Police Department at 891-4200. A man convicted in the slayings of 2 Florida women has been granted a temporary stay of execution on questions of his mental competency hours before he was to have received a lethal injection for one of those deaths. A hearing is planned Thursday in the case of inmate Marshall Gore. A special graduation for some special students. These 4 to 7-year-olds are all profoundly deaf, but they have learned how to talk and be understood at the Center for Hearing and Speech. Now they are ready to graduate and move on to classes at mainstream schools.
We brought some cupcakes.
What kind of cupcakes?
A graduation cupcakes.
To see her from where she started at to the point to where she is now is really emotional.
They might not understand why they have to wear caps and gowns, but they do know that joining the hearing world is a big deal. They even delivered speeches that they committed to memory.
And I'm Storm Tracker Chief Meteorologist Dustin Cobb. How long will we see these pop thunderstorms? I'll let you know.
Mom! Mom?
This mom was lucky that her daughter happened to stop by. Can your mom or dad reach a phone in such an emergency? The solution is Life Alert. Life Alert saves a life from a catastrophe every 11 minutes.
Linda, thank you for finding Life Alert for me. I feel much safer having it.
Whenever my mother needed help, Life Alert was there.
Because of Life Alert, my mother's life was saved.
Life Alert definitely saved my mother-in-law's life that day. There's no doubt about it.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-821-5206. That's 1-800-821-5206. Call now, 1-800-821-5206. For a free brochure, call 1-800-821-5206. 1-800-821-5206.
Here is your Storm Tracker forecast.
And welcome back. It's definitely been a warm day today, and we're going to continue to see warm temperatures throughout the area for the next several days. 88 is our current temperature. Feels like 92 out there with current dew point at 70, 53% humidity, and a west-southwest wind at 5 miles per hour under a mostly cloudy sky. As we head throughout the next few days, we're going to continue to see these isolated thunderstorms off and on. Hot, mild times continue, and it looks like summer is definitely sticking around here in the Big Bend. Here's what our forecast looks like on your Wednesday. We're definitely going to be seeing humid times over the area. Isolated thunderstorms in nature throughout the Big Bend. However, in southern Florida and pretty much the entire state of Florida could see a pretty good dose of some thunderstorms throughout the area. we will continue to follow and track these storms as they move through the area as well. Cloudy skies tonight with an isolated thunderstorm possible. Temperature around 87 degrees at 7 p.m., 83 by 9 by midnight, down to about 77. Definitely going to be on the warm side tonight. For your forecast, we do have a chance of isolated thunderstorms tonight. We're going to get down on the warm side, 71 degrees for your overnight low. Like I said, isolated thunderstorms, south wind changing to a southeast wind 5 to 10. For tomorrow, isolated thunderstorms definitely on the hot side, 94 degrees with heat index near 100. And looking ahead the next several days, those isolated thunderstorms continue off and on for the next several days. Some more than others, as always, but temperatures in the mid-90s on your Wednesday, low to mid-90s on Thursday, then upper 80s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Look at that, mid-80s on Monday and Tuesday of next week. Don't forget to get the latest weather information at our website. That's WSFD15.com.
Still to come, a breakthrough drug that could change the way doctors treat the most common kind of leukemia. Details next in Your Health.
I'm Stacey Johnson. If you've been thinking about buying a house or refinancing one, guess what? It's time to pull the trigger. I'll explain why coming up on Money Talks News.
I can't travel. I can't sit for very long. I can't stand for very long. I can't sleep. It's difficult to find any joy. It's unbelievable how just a few months of taking Nopalea, how it's changed my life, how much better I feel. You just get a total appreciation, new appreciation for life that I haven't had in so long.
With over 8 million bottles of Nopalea sold, we know it will work for you. Pick up the phone and call now. Learn how to get your 32-ounce bottle of Nopalea free. You'll also receive the Secret Killer Special Report that talks about the dangers associated with inflammation and an audio CD that explains the science behind the Nopal Superfruit.
I just know it worked, and it helped me, and it'll help you too.
Get on the road to wellness now.
I needed coverage that I could afford, so I called ICANN.
When I lost my job, I needed health benefits from my family, so I called ICANN.
With my history, I couldn't get health insurance, so I called ICANN.
Going without health insurance? One call can change it all. Rates too high? You've been turned down, or just need to save money. ICANN has plans to meet your needs, no matter your income. We have plans that include coverage for doctor visits, prescriptions, hospital stays, surgery, emergency room visits, and the list goes on. But wait, there's more. ICANN has programs that connect you with licensed doctors round the clock from wherever you are. And as a special bonus, if you call right now, we'll send you a no-cost, no-obligation Humana prescription drug savings card just for calling.
That's a savings of up to 50% off your prescriptions at 54,000 participating pharmacies nationwide.
So don't wait. Call ICANN right now.
By the end of the day, 43 more people will learn they have chronic lymphatic leukemia, or CLL. Now, it's the most common form of leukemia, diagnosed about every 30 minutes in the U.S. Until now, treatments have been only moderately successful. But as Clark Powell shows us, a new small gray pill could change that forever.
As cancer breakthroughs go, this one is as subtle as it is effective. It's a simple, unassuming gray pill that in 4 years of testing has shown remarkable results.
Approximately 75% of people, of all types of relapse CLL will be disease-free at 2 years.
Dr. John Bird is a leukemia specialist at Ohio State's Comprehensive Cancer Center. In a new study, he touts the effectiveness of the pill known as ibrutinib. It works by targeting a particular enzyme within the cancer cells that feed their growth.
CLL cells and lymphoma cells require to live, and when you shut it off, it's like shutting off the light. The cancer cell goes off.
But for all this medicine does, it's what it doesn't do that means so much to Dennis Hickey. Diagnosed with leukemia 13 years ago, Hickey endured countless rounds of chemotherapy and the side effects that came with them.
It would work for about 6 months. It would shrink the tumors. My neck was out like this, underneath my arms, the lymph nodes. To make a long story short, I was a mess.
But not anymore. With this therapy, Hickey simply takes a pill 3 times a day. He has no side effects and no more signs of leukemia. Remarkable considering at one point, Hickey was only given 6 months to live.
10 years later, I sit here before you, truly blessed. I'm so fortunate in many ways. I have 11 grandchildren. Of that period of time, I saw the birth of 5 more.
Thanks to a new therapy that's as easy on patients as it is hard on CLL. At Ohio State's Comprehensive Cancer Center, this is Clark Powell reporting.
The study is published in the latest edition of the New England Journal of Medicine. Dr. Bird says because it's been so effective, this drug could break a record for getting approved. Most drugs take 7 to 10 years to be tested and approved. This drug could be on the market in as little as 4 years. What do you get when you combine a recovering housing market with historically low mortgage rates? A signal to act. Money reporter Stacy Johnson is here with some advice for those sitting on the fence.
Buying a house can be scary. It's not only a big investment, it's one that destroyed the savings of a lot of families just a few years ago. But when it comes to buying or refinancing a house, I've got some advice. Do it, and do it soon. Listen to this clip I got from a real estate professor just about this time last year.
It's hard to time exactly at the bottom, but we're so near the bottom, it's really not going to matter if you bought last month, this month, 1 year from now. You should be getting a good investment if you go ahead and buy today.
That professor was right. In most parts of the country, housing is rebounding, and at a more rapid clip than anyone expected. Reason number 2 to buy? Interest rates. Thanks to the Federal Reserve, they are so low, it's practically ridiculous. To be able to borrow mortgage money at less than 4% is a screaming deal. And mark my words, if you don't, 10 years from now, maybe less, you'll wish you had. Now, obviously, not everyone should even buy a house, and not every house is a good deal. And you've got time. Neither rates nor prices are going to increase radically overnight. But look, when you can buy something at the same price it was 10 years ago and borrow money at less than 4% to do it, I'd consider it. Of course, buying a house is complicated, and so is finding the right mortgage. That's why we've got lots more information on exactly how to do it right here at MoneyTalksNews.com. Just do a search for real estate. For Money Talks News, I'm Stacy Johnson.
As Stacy said, he's got more information and links at his website. To get there, just go to our website, WSFD15.com, and click on the Money Talks link under the Lifestyles menu.
Mom! Mom? Oh.
This mom was lucky that her daughter happened to stop by. Can your mom or dad reach a phone in such an emergency? The solution is Life Alert. Life Alert saves a life from a catastrophe every 11 minutes.
Linda, thank you for finding Life Alert for me. I feel much safer having it.
Whenever my mother needed help, Life Alert was there.
Because of Life Alert, my mother's life was saved.
Life Alert definitely saved my mother-in-law's life that day. There's no doubt about it.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-821-5206. That's 1-800-821-5206. Call now, 1-800-821-5206. For a free brochure, call 1-800-821-5206. 1-800-821-5206.
I needed coverage that I could afford, so I called ICANN.
When I lost my job, I needed health benefits from my family. So I called ICANN.
With my history, I couldn't get health insurance, so I called ICANN.
Going without health insurance? One call can change it all. Rates too high? You've been turned down, or just need to save money. ICANN has plans to meet your needs, no matter your income. We have plans that include coverage for doctor visits, prescriptions, hospital stays, surgery, emergency room visits, and the list goes on. But wait, there's more. ICANN has programs that connect you with licensed doctors round the clock from wherever you are. And as a special bonus, if you call right now, we'll send you a no-cost, no-obligation Humana prescription drug savings card just for calling.
That's a savings of up to 50% off your prescriptions at 54,000 participating pharmacies nationwide.
So don't wait. Call ICANN right now.
This is Sports Zone.
Jeremy Hellickson pitched 7 strong innings, and rookie Will Myers homered in his home debut, helping the Tampa Bay Rays beat the Blue Jays 4-1 on Monday night to end Toronto's 11-game winning streak. Myers homered in his first at-bat at Tropicana Field and received a standing ovation from a crowd of more than 11,000, getting its initial close-up view of the key acquisition in the offseason trade that sent pitchers James Shields and Wade Davis to Kansas City for the power-hitting right fielder and other prospects. Tampa Bay Rays right-hander Alex Cobb favors pitchers having the option of wearing protective headgear on the mound. Cobb returned to Tropicana Field on Monday, 9 days after being struck in the right ear by a ball hit by Kansas City's Eric Hosmer, and nearly 7 weeks after Toronto's J.A. Happ also was hit in the head by a batted ball while pitching there. Sitting on a platform in the auxiliary clubhouse in which Happ also answered questions about the scary incident that knocked him out of a game in early May. Rod Perry shot at an even par 72 in rainy conditions Monday at Sun River Resort to take the second-round lead in the PGA Professional National Championship. Perry, the PGA head pro at Crane Lakes in Port Orange, had 2 birdies and 2 bogeys in the Crosswater Club course, the site of the final 2 rounds. The 39-year-old left-hander had an 8-under 135 total after opening with a 63 on the Meadows course. And that's today in sports.
Well, that does it for 15 News Now. Folks, thanks for joining us. Dustin and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, God bless everybody.
When you see news happening in your area, let us know about it. You can call our news department at 573-701-9590 or email us at news@DawkinsBroadcastGroup.com.